Hi everyone, today we're going to start on day 3 of Unit 3A, and today we're focusing on translating expressions/equations, mostly equations. So we're just going to do a couple of examples for these notes, and I'm going to walk you through how you should approach them, and then you guys will try them on your own, okay? So example 1 says a pizza shop charges $9 for a large cheese pizza. Additional toppings cost $1.25 per additional cost. They cost an additional $1.25. Heather paid $15.25 for a large pizza. How many toppings did she order? Set up an equation and solve it. Okay, so some of you might be thinking, oh, I can solve this, no problem. It's not just about finding an answer. We also need to be able to write an equation from a word problem. Okay, so we just read the problem. Now we're going to go back through and underline some of those important details. So, pizza shop charges $9. We should underline. Well, we should underline. Additional toppings cost $1.25 per topping. Heather paid $15.25 for her large pizza. They're asking how many toppings did she order. Okay? So some keywords here are per, for the per toppings. That means we're going to be multiplying 125 times however many toppings we have. Additional means addition. And paid would be our equals. Okay, because that paid means that's the total. So the very first thing we're going to do is define our variable. Our variable is going to be whatever we're trying to find. Here we're trying to find toppings, so we could just pick a variable. It doesn't really matter which letter we pick. However, this time we're just going to pick T for toppings, to stand for toppings. Okay, so now we're going to write our equation. We know that we're going to have to pay $9 no matter how many toppings we get on there, plus, that's what additional means, the 125 times the toppings, which are T. Okay? And that will equal the $15.25. So we basically just set up our equation. We've got the 125 times the toppings, which we don't know, so we're going to use T, plus the $9 just for a pizza, equals the $15.25 that she paid. That's just setting up our equation. Once we have our equation, we can go ahead and solve it. So we're going to solve it like a two-step equation. We're going to first undo the plus 9 by subtracting 9 from both sides. We're just going to undo it by doing the opposite. These 9s will cancel out, leaving us with the 1.25t, and it will now equal 6.25. So now we're just going to divide by 125. We're going to undo that multiplication by dividing. The 125s will cancel out. 6.25 divided by 1.25, we just do it in the calculator, and we get t equals 5. We're not done, because they didn't ask what t equaled. They asked how many toppings did she order, so we're going to have to write that out in words. So what that actually means, that t equals 5, it means that Heather ordered 5 toppings on her pizza. Okay? So now you guys are going to try this one on your own, which is set up very similarly. You're going to find your keywords, define your variable, and set up your equation, and then solve it. Okay? We will go over this problem next class. Alright? You can either pause the video or try it at the end. It's up to you. Moving on to example 2. I'm going to read it first. A cell phone company charges a monthly rate of $55 for unlimited text and data, and 50 cents per minute for phone calls. The bill for last month was $66. Write and solve an equation to find out how many minutes for phone calls were charged on this bill. Now, if you notice, it doesn't have the same things like it did in the last two problems. We need to do the defining variable, equation, and solving no matter what. We should always be doing those 3 steps. Okay? And the keywords. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead now and go through the problem again. just read through it again and start underlining things that are important. A monthly rate of $55 would be helpful to know. So underline that. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't underline it for some reason. 50 cents per minute. Where is my underlining stuff? Weird. 50 cents per minute would be helpful. The bill was $66. Okay. How many minutes? Right? So first, keywords per, for per minute. I don't know why my thing's thinking about it. Per minute. So that means multiplication. And it's $55 for unlimited text and data, and 50 cents per minute. And in this case means addition, because I'm going to pay the $55 no matter what, plus the 50 cents per minute. And then the bill was $66, so that means it equals. Okay, those are my keywords. So now I'm going to go ahead and define the variable. It said write and solve an equation to find out how many minutes. Okay, your variable will most likely always be in that question. I don't know how many minutes, so that's what my variable is going to be. M for minutes. So now I'm going to set up my equation. I have to pay the $55 plus the 50 cents times the number of minutes. So it would just be set up as the 50 cents times the minutes, which we don't know, so it's M, plus the $55, the amount I have to pay no matter what. And that will equal 66. Okay? So now I have my equation. I can just solve. I'm going to first subtract the 55 because I want to get rid of that. And I do it to both sides. That will cancel it out, leaving me just 0.5 or 0.50 m equals 11. And then I can divide both sides by 0.50, and I get m equals 22. So, but what does that mean to the question? I said find out how many minutes for phone calls was charged on this bill. Well, that means if m is 22, that means 22 minutes were on this bill. Okay? Alright, so now you're going to have an example. Okay, you're going to have a try on your own. You should be defining the variable, writing the equation, and then solving. And filling in your keywords. I'm looking for all of this work. Okay? This one has an additional question at the end. So not only are you going to find the answer, but it's going to ask you about your answer too. Okay? So make sure you answer this question at the bottom. Is he telling the truth? You can try it now and pause the video, or you can try it once we finish the video. Alright, example 3. Ooh, I should move all the stuff out of the way. Move it down and move it down. Jessica spent half of her weekly allowance playing arcade games. Her parents let her weed the garden for $7 to earn extra money. What is her weekly allowance if she ended with $15? Okay? So now I'm going to go through and underline. Half her weekly allowance is important, so I should underline that. $7 earn $7, it's just backwards, is important. What is her weekly allowance? And ended is important, ended with $15. So I'm going to write these things down now. Half means to divide by 2 specifically. Ended with is your equals. And extra, earned extra, means you're adding it. Okay? So, I should define my variable. I don't know what the allowance is. So, I'm going to say A is going to equal the allowance. Now, define that variable first. It's very large. Okay? And now I'm going to go, I'm actually going to say X, just kidding. I'm I'm going to use X. You can use A. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter what you define, what letter you pick, as long as you define it and let other people know this letter is going to represent this. That's all I'm looking for. Okay? So I'm going to say X is her allowance. So now I'm going to set it up. So if we take her allowance, which we now have said is X, and she spent half of it, so she's taken half away. So that means to find half of it, we're going to divide it by 2. But then she earns extra money, so plus the $7. And doing all of that stuff, in the end, she'll just have 15. So what that looks like is just X over 2, because that's how much she'd have after spending it at the arcade, plus the 7 the parents gave. And she'll end up with her 15 at the end. Okay? So that's your equation. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve. First, I'm going to get rid of this plus 7 by doing the opposite. Subtract 7. So now I have, where'd it go? So now I have X over 2 equals 8. Then I'm going to undo this divided by 2 by multiplying by 2 on both sides. The 2's will disappear, leaving just the X. So X will equal 16. But what does that mean? Because they just asked. Got to read the question again. They said, what is her weekly allowance if she ended with $15? Well, they're asking what is her weekly allowance, so if X equals 16, that means her weekly allowance is $16. Okay? And now you guys are going to try this last problem on your own. We will go over all the try on your owns. If you are having a problem, or like if you don't understand how to do it, please write a question down wherever you finish to ask a question in class. Make sure we have that stuff so we can ask in class to make sure you get the understanding. Okay? I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.